All right, y'all. I usually do these through the weekday, but I thought it was very imperative and very important that I do it a little earlier. I'm getting a little extra. Let me see how this sounds now. Now I'm getting a little bit of extra weird sound from my microphone. I don't know what that is, but this is about Job Corps not accepting me. When I was around 18, 19 years old, I tell you guys the story. When I got out of high school, I knew I didn't want to go straight to college. I had no interest in that. When I look back in hindsight, I think I probably should have went to Sacramento, got a part-time gig, and stayed with my uncle Billy. Um, I might have to do a story time on him. Uh, my uncle, um, he was about his bread, so he took a great liking to me, and and my intellect and things of that nature. And I think I should have moved out to Sacramento with my uncle, and I should have just went to a technical college. Here's why I say that: it would have gave me a different culture out there in Northern California. I think that should have been something I should have done. But I never really bounced it off to him. But I think that would have been a good thing because you got to think, y'all got to remember, in 1997, I probably was maybe 15. I was He paid for my trip to come out to California and stay with him for about 2 weeks during the summer. I went out there um, right before high school. So I will never forget that. Now during that time, and I'll just make it brief, but during that time, his wife was she kind of mistreated me out there. He used to brag about me like, man, my nephew coming out here and stuff like that. So she went and she sent for her nephews from Detroit and stuff like that. So she was he had to check her a couple times because I mean she was being very I don't know, she was being very abrasive at the time. And she's gone now, so they're both dead, but at that time it was kind of an abrasive situation. So I never went back to California. And my parents, I kind of told them once I got back, like, man, why y'all send me out there if you knew that she was like this, whatever. They didn't think that she didn't think that she would do that stuff to me. And then, because she was a teacher, her attitude was like, well, I know way more than you. And I wasn't really trying to argue with her about stuff. I just happen to know about a lot of things. And most teachers um, that value kids with an upper brain, they're gonna rock with you. They're gonna be like, okay, let me see what this little young dude has to say. So um the reason why I said I should have considered going to college, I was smart at that time. Just for that, like maybe some kind of scholarship or something like that. But other than that, like I say, I wasn't interested in going to college. But I think that would have been good only if I could go out of town and get a different perspective. The point of this is to talk about the Job Corps thing. Now, everybody's up in the air about Job Corps. So let's go right to it. That tells you everything you need to know. The judge is shutting it down for now. So everybody need to get their panties out of a bunch for now. Y'all need to understand our commander in chief. He's not a politician. He just throws stuff at the wall. He probably don't even know what's constitution or not. He's a businessman. So anything he decides to just go at the spur of the moment or whatever he wants to do, he will just do it. So whatever. Here's the thing. Job Corps, I tried when I got out of high school, I was trying to figure my way. I wasn't really talking to my dad, so I really didn't have any male leadership to basically say, hey, man, try to do this. Here's 401k. Here's wealth management. This is how real estate works. Those were never conversations. I was just talking to my homie Titan today. And I said, man, you remember that badass Chicago chick? He didn't even really remember her. And I said, man, what year was that when me and Logic and me and you went to Wendy's and he was telling me about the double stacks and all that? He's like, man, them joints was $1. That was your thing. And I told him, I said that, remember I did that story time about Chicago women, how fast they were. They were much faster than me. And this one was talking about enterprise. And I thought as a youngin', you got to have some big giant 3M Best Buy corporation. And we were having a discussion today, like, damn, we really didn't know shit. Like, we were dumb as hell. Like, you know, when she said the word enterprise, oh, I'm gonna get you. We gonna get an enterprise. That's what she was saying. That's how she said. She had a little country accent. She said, we gonna get an enterprise. And so I was like, no, we can't get no damn enterprise. Like, you need a big building and all this. You know, that ain't no shit. So this is just a couple years after high school. So I wanted to go to Job Corps. I might have been like 19, 18, 20. I don't know how old I was. But I started thinking about going to Job Corps. I called Job Corps up. In St. Paul, this is our Job Corps. I'm going to show y'all the St. Paul Job Corps. This is the St. Paul Job Corps. And you got folks from all different lives. The Hubert Humphrey Job Corps Center. Now, a couple of days ago, they said students scramble to find housing with St. Paul Job Corps. So this is the Job Corps. This is what the Job Corps looks like. Wait a minute. Is that the one that they move it? That's on Snelling. Yeah, I don't know why it. Okay, that looked like it said Arlington. I'm like, what? So it's on Snelling. I was just on Snelling today. Now, as you can see, the area is not in Frogtown, and I show you all this. It's close to Como Park. You got Energy Park, a little money around here. The money starts getting jankier once you get over here, North End, Maryland, Thomas and Dale University, but you see it's way over there. So we're gonna go and take a look at some of these pictures real quick, just so you guys can get an idea. That's a picture of the Job Corps. That's a little video. These are all the pictures people are showing. So I don't know why it says Arlington, but maybe there's a block off Arlington. Oh, okay, it is. Yep, it is on Arlington. It's on Arlington and Snelling. But when you go right here, now the State Fairgrounds is right over here too. State Fairgrounds is here too. So if it'll go ahead and let me finally. All right. So that's Snelling. Snelling goes all the way to St. Paul and through Roseville. You know, this is the State Fairgrounds right here. So the Minnesota State Fairgrounds, there's over 3 million people to come a year, maybe more than that. There was a big thing that was going on. Well, let me give you the story. So I call up Job Corps. I tell my mom, I say, Mom, I'm about to call Job Corps. Because, you know, I wanted to do something. So I talked to the lady who's assisted to answer the phone. She's a little older than me. And she could tell I was young and stuff like that. But talked to her for about 15, 20 minutes. She said, "No, we ain't accepting you." And I'm like, "Why not?" She said, "You smart." She said, "No, we ain't accepting folk like you." Because she got to asking me about what I wanted to do, and I talked about my computer experiences, and then I said something about, well, maybe y'all got a computer program. You know, I built my own computer. She said, "Hold on, wait a minute. Why that? You built your own computer?" She said, "Oh no, you too advanced for this." And I wanted to go, but then when she started talking about, well, yeah, you get like a weekly stipend, about $25 or something like that, and it, you know, around that time, I was hustling, so yeah, $25. I could make that in a day. $25 for a week for all your toiletries, and you got to stay on the campus Monday through Friday. So I don't know if I would have had that kind of discipline. You got to stay on the campus Monday through Friday, and then you could go home at the end. So that wasn't something that I was really interested in doing. So what I start to do, and I got a couple interviews actually from here and there. Um, I think I applied at some company. I'm trying to remember where I was at. It was a weird, it was a very very weird interview. But I had an interview and I was like 19 or in my early 20s. I don't know how old I was, but I was very young, and I applied for just building. It was just you're on a warehouse and you're building the computers. It's custom, and I could have did it, but I went through this. I mean, it was a long, long ass interview, and this is how green I was. I could do a story time separate from this, but this is how green I was about interviews. I thought that I would get the job because I brought the A+ book with me on the interview. I don't know why I did that. Maybe I thought that I was going to be able to, they'll think like, oh, but I had a big, thick book that I brought with me with my resume on the interview. And what was crazy about it was the interview, you had these suspected race soldiers in there. They was treating me real funny style in that interview. Like the way the vibe, there was no smiles, there was no warmthness. I mean, I'm a prospective employee, but they were they were acting real. They had a real nasty spirit. They didn't act like they want to shake my hand, none of that stuff. And so you had one dude to interview me. Then they brought another person in and he interviewed me. And then they left and they like sat me there for like 10 minutes or like, I thought it was very strange. I've never seen anything like that. So, this was probably around the time where Job Corps told me, you know too much. They said a lot of these kids that we got here, they don't know what they want to do. They ain't got no sense of direction. She said, you have a sense of direction. This program is below your means. So, we're not going to want to accept you. And that kind of told me like, okay, well then I need to get above my means then, so they didn't accept me. So let's go on to, the judge temporarily stops Trump administration moves to close Job Corps centers across the nation. So National Job Corps Association filed to stop the shutdown of 99 campuses serving disadvantaged youth across America. So it says a federal judge on Wednesday, let's go back up, issued a temporary restraining order that stops the Trump administration from closing Job Corps. And this is what U.S. District Judge Andrew L. wrote, because he knows Trump don't really know what he's doing. He's just somebody that just kind of.
It's fixing things.
Hold on.
Changing things.
How do you stop this? Fair use. Jeez. I hate it when it does that. All right. So I wonder if I could get like a better. Let's see if we can get a better website. Okay, Job Corps Judge blocks. Let me see if I can get a better website, because this Fox News one is $1 billion corporation and it looks janky. All right, Judge blocks Trump administration Job Corps Center suspension. U.S. District Judge Andrew Carter, an appointee of former President Obama, temporarily. This one ain't no better. Tons of ads. Terrible. So let's just try to see what we can do, y'all. Temporarily halted the government from taking further steps to eliminate the program, which offers free education and vocational training in addition to housing for disadvantaged young people aged 16 to 24. I didn't know there was 16. So he's blocking that. I don't know what the hell is going on with my damn. Something is really going on with this microphone. I think I'm gonna have to get another one. Okay, will do. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to get another microphone, you guys. Something's up with this thing. It's acting very strange. It's like the volume is going up and down, up and down, up and down. I don't know what's going on. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up, you guys. I'm gonna see what's up with these technical difficulties. But all in all, yeah, Job Corps is gonna be blocked temporarily. Might go on for about 90 days or something like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up.